The Pacific Northwest. Hidden past the mountains, beyond the water and the hills, lies a secret left by man. A sprawling display of concrete forts and bunkers built for a fight that never happened. And while nature has begun to reclaim her territory, a much eviler force has taken refuge here. Through the exploration of graffiti and rituals left behind by these people, this documentary will slowly uncover the truth about the horrifying secret of cults in Fort Worden. Let's just get these out of the way. I don't want this documentary to be about me. My name is Corbin. I'll be your host, narrator, and director of this journey. I was the one who organized this trip, filmed most of the shots, organized all the shots, and managed to find all the graffiti and the rituals that were left behind that you'll see in this documentary. My partner is Rylan. He helped a little bit too. He can make me pretty angry sometimes, but I put up with him. Get out of the fucking shot, Rylan! Get out now! Walk faster! The point of this documentary is to uncover some of the secrets that this place holds.
Ruin the
and
shot!
Maybe you'll learn a thing or two about the things that are dwelling just beneath our noses. Before we can begin to even scratch the surface of what's hiding in Fort Worden, we need to establish first what we know about this place and the suspected cults or cult that may lurk within. We'll start first with an interview with my partner Rylan. I asked him some questions about what he knows and his opinions on the place, and I will present that clip to you right now. So, what are your overall thoughts on Fort Worden?
It's good.
Okay, it's good, yeah. And have you ever heard of the occult?
Satanic Worshippers?
Yeah, well, sort of, yeah. Okay. And what are your thoughts on the occult in Fort Worden?
Is that why we're out here?
As you can see, Ryland's determination and focus was part of what kept us going. Now, let's move on to what we know about the fort. The fort was built in 1903, but it was never used in the fight with Japan that the Pacific Northwest intended would happen after Pearl Harbor. And that's all we know. Now, let's move on to our knowledge of the occult. And here to explain our knowledge of the occult is a clip of me at Fort Worden with Rylan.
I don't know, man. I'm about to go check, but I found one of Ryan's favorite people. Where'd you go? Right there?
So, the occult.
Wow, you can't mention that. They're all right there.
Rylan!
What? Yeah?
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm exploring, dog.
So, the occult. You can go, just...
Yo, okay.
The occult. People
this is sketchy, dog.
The occult. People often know them as Satanists. In popular American culture, they're often the subject of, like...
Dude, like, this place is top-notch.
In American culture...
I haven't been out here during...
In American culture, they're often the topic of horror movies. Movies like Rosemary's Baby. I'm a big fan of...
I don't have good service.
I'm a big fan of horror movies.
Oh, shoot.
I hope it's not too dark. I just wanted to show the audience what shirt I'm wearing. I'm sporting my Camp Airwax shirt.
Oh crap! Oh no.
It's from the film Sleepaway Camp. It's one of my favorites. So I'm pretty well equipped to talk about things like horror movies if I know what Sleepaway Camp is, obviously. So the occult. Sometimes. So now that everyone is filled in on what we know about the fort and the cult that might be dwelling within, we can finally move on to the clips exploring the beach. The beach, located near Battery Kinzie, was a fun place to explore for a while. What with the scenic views of the water, and the massive hills that lay just behind us. We didn't find anything at the beach. I would, however, like to revel in my filmmaking for a second here. Check out this shot. And now, let's take a trip back up the Sand Mountain, and let's head on over to Battery Kinzie. Located right next to the beach is Battery Kinzie, perhaps the most public of the forts in the area. Of the footage that we did glean from our trip to this battery, none of it brought anything to light about any cults here. Although, through our travels here, we did discover some corridors that weren't looking too good. The one you're seeing right now is waterlogged, filled with sticks, trash, and rocks. No signs that we could detect of any cults living in there. Here, a dark tunnel. We just thought it would be fun to explore it. We're just brave adventurers. So, while we did enjoy our time here, we really have nothing to show. What's really interesting, though, is what lies just up the mountain. Up the treacherous mountain, you'll find a whole new collection of forts. They're spread out everywhere, dozens of them. So many hidden corridors, sprays of graffiti, and mysteries to solve. And that's why we're up here. Most of our footage was shot here. There were so many hidden corridors and hallways and so many spots in the bunkers that we could spot that led us to believe that there was a cult hiding somewhere in this mountain. We'll slowly work our way in. First, we have here a piece of graffiti on the wall in a corridor near where the last shot was filmed. It appears to be some kind of bird. It almost looks like a crow. Crows are representative of death. Death is related to Satan, and there are Satan worshippers in the mountain. Moving on. Here, we have a heart painted on the wall with wings, and it's painted in black, which could represent Satan or death. The heart flying away could represent the heart leaving the body, and as we've already established, death equals Satan. Let's move on. Here, it appears the word condo has been written. This could possibly symbolize that the Satan worshippers are welcoming some kind of demonic entity into the fort. It's a new condo for him, I guess. This one might be a bit hard to make out, but I was smart enough to see it. There appears to be a demonic face on the wall, though this is not graffiti. This graffiti is green. From that one walkthrough of that one hallway, we managed to find 5 different things on the walls. But in that particular area, there's one more notable piece of graffiti that I would like you all to see. And I did an on-site investigation of this specific piece. Let's take a look. Hail Satan. We found this painted on here when we got here yesterday. Of course we've been here before, but this was new. So, to me, it stands to reason that a new cult must have moved into the fort while we were gone so many years ago. And it seems that it was painted freshly, except there have been a new wave of moths coming in and inhabiting these buildings. According to me, I think that means that they've been in here recently, and they could be in here right now. So we are putting ourselves in danger for this film, just for you. It's no doubt that these graffiti paintings are truly terrifying. And to finally cap off this segment before we move on to the more extreme side of this exploration, we have one more piece to show you, another on-site investigation. Let's roll it. Now, I think it's quite clear that there is something here in the fort. And they could be anywhere, they could be everywhere. And like I said, they could be here right now with us. But it's up to us to figure out what's really going on here. If there's anything going on here, which I'm sure there is. Based off of this pentagram. If you could zoom in on this, Rylan. Zoom in! Are you zoomed in on it?
Yes!
Jesus. Come on, zoom out. We're racing camera. Come on. Just cut that out. So, obviously, the occult is here. And with this documentary, we're going to figure out why. While that was truly haunting, let's take a look in this tunnel. As we're climbing up, you may have noticed at the beginning of this clip it said, "To heaven." Well, I'll bet you know what to expect on the other side of this tunnel. It's our first example in this documentary of graffiti that's written in word to express the desires of the cult. As we reach the top of this tunnel, we will have one more on-site investigation, briefly discussing what lies on the other side.
Hey.
So, as you can see on this tunnel, it says to hell with an arrow pointing down. Now, obviously, you may associate hell with the devil, Satan, and if you're like me and you're obsessed with these kinds of things, you might also associate it with the occult, which is obviously what we're investigating here. So this leads me to believe that either the occult or someone related to the occult must have painted this here to symbolize that going down this tunnel, get a good shot of the tunnel, that going down this tunnel means that you're going to hell. And obviously that's not true, but like, do you have a good shot of the tunnel?
Yep.
Okay. God. So obviously someone painted this to symbolize that you're going to hell, even though it's not true. Another piece of evidence for the occult? Possibly.
And now, it's finally time to move on to more physical evidence of the cult. As luck would have it, we were fortunate enough to encounter two spots in our travels where we at least found some evidence of some kind of ceremony taking place. As you'll see in this first case, all that was left were some candles.
Now, there's usually some kind of statue here, usually some kind of Baphomet statue associated with the occult. And obviously the statue is gone, which makes me think that either they have some kind of stash of them, or possibly just that they only have one. But they decided to leave the candles here. The wicks are still burnt, obviously meaning that they've been here recently.
And, as if some higher force was smiling on us, we managed to find a fully intact ceremony, including the candles and the statue. As you can see, as I carefully and respectfully examine this ceremony left behind by some of the members of the cult, you can see the intricacies of the statue, possibly carved by the cult themselves, or maybe they got it from some kind of outside source. I have no evidence on that. But as day turned to night, we returned to the same spot to see if the ceremony was still there. And curiously enough, the statue was gone, but the candles still remained. This was all but confirmation to me that there was an active cult somewhere hidden within the fort. We have finally reached the most intense, terrifying, and yet engaging part of this documentary. Close physical encounters we've had with members of the cult. The 3 clips I have for you will first be played unedited and then analyzed afterwards. The first clip I have for you was supposed to be a clip of me discussing what the atmosphere would be like at nighttime. Pay careful attention to the background, and I'll analyze the clip afterwards.
Obviously the atmosphere is a little different here at night, and it's obviously not nighttime yet. But, you know, when it starts getting darker, things will eventually start getting weird. I'm hoping, Ryland's in the bathroom right now, but I'm really hoping that, everything turns out okay. I hope that nothing weird happens while we're out here. It's been a few years since we were actually here, so I'm hoping that nothing creepy happens. I guess we'll see. Okay. Now, just for some context, it was starting to get dark outside, and Ryland had to use the bathroom, as I stated in the clip. I just wanted to get one more clip of me talking before it turned completely dark outside. I wanted to talk about my thoughts on the atmosphere and what it was like at night, and little did I realize until I was sifting through the footage later that one of the members of the cult was behind me. He was kind of on the lower ground. I was sitting up on the wall, so I didn't see him, and he was quiet enough so that I didn't hear him. I'm surprised he didn't try to attack me or anything. But we made it through this encounter safe. And of the 3 clips, this is my closest encounter. This next clip was filmed inside of one of the many forts on the hill. Again, I'll play it unedited, and then I'll analyze it afterwards. Now, just for some context, once again, I was traveling down one of the upper forts in one of the dark hallways. Ryland decided to stay up in the sun while he was calling his mom, so I went down alone just to get the quick clip. And I wanted to get some shots of the passing lights as I walked by them through the hall. And in one of the dark corners that I passed by, you can see it, the white of its mask gleaming through the darkness. Obviously, I didn't realize this when I was actually filming it. I didn't realize this until I was sifting through the footage like the previous clip. So once again, this comes as a complete shock to me. It seems that these cult members were everywhere. Before we play the last clip, I need to let you know that this is completely real and unedited. And this is your warning too. This was by far the most visceral and closest physical encounter we've had with what we were looking for in Fort Worden. This was the clip that made us decide that it was time to go home. So as I play the clip, keep that in mind. Let's try our best to break this clip down. For context, Ryland came to me panicked. I was trying to find our next spot to film in the area. He had heard that noise coming from over there, and since I wasn't around, he had decided to go check it out with the camera. He went in, and this is what he caught. Throughout this clip, you can hear him in the distance humming some kind of, I don't even know what. This could be some kind of ritualistic song, or perhaps even some kind of summoning song. If you listen closely to the original clip, you can hear a deep growling that isn't coming from Ryland or this worshipper.
So it sounds like that this worshipper was successfully summoning something. Perhaps his previous 2 ceremonial shrines had been desecrated by someone, and this time he was finally able to finish the ceremony with his shrine intact. This seems to be a perfect combination of everything we've discovered so far in this documentary. The ceremony, including the statue and 2 candles, and this mysterious follower who's been following us in the previous clips I've brought up. Even the same outfit as well, which leads me to believe that this could be the same person. Perhaps the only person, but I doubt it. This seems to be the only one we've seen so far, and he's practicing this alone. At least, physically alone. This may be the moment where he realizes that Rylan is in the room, but this is also the moment where we can get the best view of his mask and try to decipher what this all means. His mask appears to be some kind of representation of a cow skull, possibly. Maybe even a goat. I'm not exactly sure. If it was a goat, it would make sense that he would be worshipping a statue for Baphomet. The horns seem to indicate that it could be a goat or possibly some kind of ox or bull. The robes kind of obscure a lot of the things that we could see. And let's talk about the robes. That deep red, that crimson. It's Satan. It represents Satan. At the end, you can see that the camera kind of gets staticky, I guess you could say. But I mean, I filmed stuff after this clip was recorded with the camera and it was fine. So I guess it was just a momentary thing. It's both a blessing and a curse that it had to end like this. On the one hand, this is exactly what we were looking for. But on the other hand, I really wish that this wasn't true. That there wasn't a cult dwelling within Fort Worden, of all places. But in the deepest corners of solitude, that's where these people lie. That's where they perform their rituals. And the question comes down to, can we allow them to do this? Should we allow them to do this? The answer is up to you. I'm just explaining the facts. It's a shame. So many other people were camping here with us, and yet none of them know the truth. But now you know the truth. The truth that in our deepest and darkest chasms, that's where we hold our deepest, darkest secrets. We have ours, I have mine, and Fort Worden has hers. And I'm going to keep it that way.